I was chaperoning a group of Boy Scouts. My ex-father-in-law was the troop leader, on a night hike in some woodland locally. I remained at the base in the car park helping prepare tea, cocoa, and snacks. A few of the kids were always around as they went out in intervals with one leader or another, so it was important that an adult was there to supervise them. I was around 18, or 19 at the time. A car pulled into the car park, which had been cordoned off and reserved for our use so the kids would stay safe. No one got out, so another leader went over to tell them that the park was off limits or see if it was a parent showing up hours early for some reason. They came back almost immediately and told me to call the police. I was the only one with a phone, as the man in the car wouldn't speak, but was wearing a mask. It was actually the mask from the Scream films, had a shotgun and had piles of rope and tarpaulin in the car. I remember being so scared that I couldn't even remember the name of the park when I was speaking to the police. I was shaking and couldn't get the words out quickly enough. All I could think was that we couldn't see the car, so had no idea if the man was still in it or out in the woods where we had 30 kids out in the dark with no way of contacting them. Thankfully the police showed up in minutes, quickly found the man, and arrested him. He said that he was out there hunting rabbits. Why he would do so with a shotgun, or need a mask and rope, I don't know. We got all the kids back safely and didn't tell them what had happened, but the sight of 7 or 8 police cars and a police dog unit was pretty difficult to ignore. Definitely one of the scariest experiences I've had. 2 years back I and my friend Raj went to NSS, a service camp, in a village on the outskirts of Tamil Nadu. There we befriended a village boy, named Kapil, who was a milk vendor. After some days, during a conversation, we asked him about any interesting places here. That's when he mentioned a haunted temple situated somewhere inside the woody forest. When asked further he said no one should even talk about it, and left the place. As we were very curious to know, we planned to go tomorrow night after we finished cleaning the school. The next morning after waking up I went out to brush my teeth. It was around 5 o'clock in the morning. Suddenly Raj came behind me and said, "Bro, what a thriller. For heaven's sake don't tell anyone about it." What a place it was. About what? I asked. Good acting maintain the same, he said. I really don't understand, what are you talking about? I asked again. Yesterday night we went to that temple, Sala, forgot in one night and walked away. WTF. The whole night I was here. Whom did he go with? My mind voice. Having a mixed feeling I went back to the room and took my phone to find 48 missed calls and 1 message. WTF is happening around me? Opened the phone. All were from Kapil and the message read. I thought it was you, Bhaiya. I am inside the temple, please, come fast, Bhaiya. A red-eyed creature is watching me. It has already killed your friend. Be careful, please inform my parents. Still unable to believe what was happening, Raj and I contacted their parents and the police, along with whom we went to the place and rescued him. He was in a state of shock when we found him, definitely not in a state to answer anyone's questions. His parents scolded him for going there and were taking him home when suddenly he came running towards me and whispered in my ears, "Whoever it is standing beside you, he is not your friend. Please stay away from it," and ran away. Before we continue, please subscribe, like, comment, and share. True story. 1985, cycle weekend with my 2 brothers, heading through mid-Scotland having set off from Borders. Had planned campsite waiting, but problem after problem, burst tires, broken cable, one thing after the next. We were running badly late and couldn't make it to our site and too far to go back. Scotland was difficult to just camp anywhere back then. Police would find you and move you on no matter what time in the morning it was. We were tired and passed a small field, open gate, and so we just chanced it. It was dark and late, we just wanted food and sleep. We put the tent up in a hurry, got food out, and turned in for the night. Our elder bro went out like a light. We too were about to sleep when we heard all this talking outside. He said police, I said doubted it as no torches, and I guessed other campers. Talking seemed very near to our tent, but no matter how we listened we could not make out words. On one hand, seemed close but also seemed out of earshot too. Our bro said was going out for a piss anyway, so would check them out. He was gone about 30 seconds, I said quick piss. He told me there was no one else in the field. We could hear the chatter as he spoke. I put my head out, and the chatter stopped. Whenever we opened the tent it went quiet. We did sleep very little on and off, apart from the old bro who slept through it all. The next day, we packed up early and pushed the bikes out of the field, but when we got to the gate there was a plaque on the wall we didn't see the night before because it was so dark. The plaque said that these parish grounds were refurbished in 1980 and all headstones were placed into the walls. We looked and yes, headstones all along the far wall. We had put a tent up in a graveyard. We had hammered pegs into people's graves and slept on top of them. Was there a connection between the whisper voices and where we were? I've always said it must have been the wind blowing around the tent making the noise, or maybe long dead people were a little upset with us. We did say sorry on the way out and we really did mean it. I only ever used campsites after that if I had to cycle all night. A strange night. Ghosts or our tired minds playing tricks, but one hell of a coincidence. I still haven't decided which one it was. On returning from a morning walk to a campsite where a batch of teens under my care were sleeping under the stars, there was a big guy going from sleeping bag to sleeping bag, lifting the bags and looking in, even managing to unzip one far enough to get a glimpse of underwear. I stepped into sight and cleared my throat loudly. He looked at me and put his hand on a large knife he was wearing. I was leaning against my car, by the door I'd left open earlier when grabbing my camera, and my .22 rifle was lying on the back seat. I leaned in and pulled it out, then cleared my throat again. The low-life scum actually scoffed and lifted the edge of another sleeping bag. I racked the bolt, which spits a round on the ground, but the sound told anyone with a brain that there was now a round in the chamber. He stopped and stared, so I slowly lifted the rifle. He took another step, so I sighted in on him, the center of the chest, and said quietly, "Leave." I tracked him as he moved, and he finally got the hint that he really ought to be somewhere else. Several of the kids had been watching and asked if I really would have shot him. I could only say, absolutely. For a long time, I had nightmares where I actually had to shoot to get him to stop. I now think sometimes when I remember it, if only we'd had cell phones then, I could have gotten a picture as well.